Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hey there, my name is Bree.
And I'm Suze.
We're the hosts of Crime and Spirits, a true crime and cocktail podcast. Do you love spooky stories and all things true crime?
How about themed cocktails? Do you love those too?
Well, that's perfect, because so do we.
Yeah, in fact, we love them so much, we made an entire podcast all about it.
Every week, we bring you a new episode that covers a different case or topic of interest, but first, we'll need drinks.
Don't you worry, we've got you covered there. Every week, we'll teach you how to make a handcrafted cocktail that ties into the theme or topic in some way.
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and pretty much every other platform available. So buckle up
And sip tight.
We can't wait to talk some true crime with you. Bye!
Work.
What's up, you guys?
Hey, what's up, you guys?
I'm Kathryn,
And I'm Hayley,
and we are Saturdays for the Ghouls.
a Podmoth podcast.
How are you, Hayley?
I'm exhausted, Catherine, but I'm great because I'm here with you.
Sound it.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
This
I'm
is-
glad you.
This is as much excitement as I can put into my voice at the moment.
Okay. Great. Love that
How
for
are-
us.
How are you? How are you doing, Catherine?
How am I? It's a good day. The birds are out. The sun is shining.
It is actually sunny here too.
It's
Well,
actually, let me just let you know, it's 86 degrees here. And actually, that's terrible for me, but 79 is not bad for me now, which is bonkers.
crazy.
But I have been excited about how being in the Burr months, September, October, November,
Burr.
December. Yeah. The Burr months are my favorite months.
Me too. It is 69 degrees right now, but it says that it feels like 74.
It's 86 here, but it's a very nice relief from the 100-degree days we've been having. And it feels like 90.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. It's fine. I woke up this morning and I had no power in my apartment.
Oh,
So
I
that
feel
was
like that
interesting.
happens quite often.
In my apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because there's like lots of wind and stuff, storms here. I don't think it
Gross.
stormed last night, but it was either some sort of, but usually the reason I don't have power is because of the storm. There's lots of,
I was going to say turbulence.
no, so another T word, tornadoes. That happens here. And sometimes when it gets really stormy, the power goes out. And that's not very common in Washington when it gets stormy, because Washington is prepared for storms. And for some reason, although tornadoes happen in Texas, Texas is not ever prepared for storms. Granted, I guess we don't have tornado storms in Washington, but we do have high winds and lots of rain. I feel like the only time we lost power was when there was some sort of accident that like hit a transformer or something.
Not an Autobot.
Optimus Prime. Anyway, or maybe what I'm trying to say, not a transformer, power pole of power lines. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about anything that's useful. I know a lot of things about things that don't matter, which is why we have a podcast where we talk about things that don't matter.
To some people, they might.
You know what? You're right. And to us, they matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes it's just a funny, silly, goofy time, but sometimes it's a serious time, depending on the topic. It's just I don't know any like useful adult information, I feel like sometimes.
You're like the smartest person I know.
That's saying a lot, Hayley, about the people you hear. Anywho, Hayley, it's your week this week. I know that we have a shared topic, but it's your week this week. Would you like to introduce us today?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Hayley. I'm alcoholic.
That was
We
the
should really start with the
bit.
serenity prayer every time we start an episode.
I promise to not thirst over this monster.
You know what? It is what it is. Anywho.
Anywho, we're not talking about that.
Oh yeah, wait. What are we talking about today, Haley?
We're gonna do another Urban Legends.
Volume number 9, I think. I think
Dude, I wrote on
that's
my
above my
notes.
pay grade. It actually is actually exactly my pay grade. I should know this.
I forgot. Where is it? Okay. I literally wrote Urban Legends Part 394.
No.
I know it's not that many, but I just was being funny.
Oh, volume 7.
Yay.
Yeah.
So, as you can tell, we like doing these.
It's just there's so many urban legends, and none of them are really that much for a whole episode. And so you have to do like a segmented episode for urban legends if you want to do some. And contrary to popular belief, we haven't done all of them within 6 episodes.
There's a lot.
There's so many that we've never even touched. And the ones that I think we're doing today are not as well known as other ones. Like our first ones, I went back. Okay, so I guess not the spooky babes don't need to really know about this, but I can tell them. I went back and I looked at every urban legends episode to make sure that we weren't like tripling, doubling up on any urban legends, because knowing us, we might be like, oh, let's talk about this or something, and we've already talked about it. So I put in all of the descriptions of the urban legends, all of the urban legends we've talked about. And in the first episode of Urban Legends, we talked about Wendigos and Skinwalkers. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But then we were like, we should do a whole episode on Skinwalkers. And then I was like, I don't wanna. Anyways.
Yeah, that our first few episodes actually made us terrified.
Yes, Haunted Dolls.
That
Haunted
one was
Dolls was probably
creepy.
one of our worst.
That one was creepy.
I think we should start getting scared again for our episodes. Okay, here. Okay, from the recent episodes, bugs were scary, right? Some of the sea creatures were scary.
I know. We actually like. Yeah. The haunted doll ones are so scary.
The Haunted Doll one was scary. I don't feel like we could do another volume of Haunted Dolls though. It was hard enough to find enough information for 6 different haunted dolls that are like well known. I do still have the topic of haunted or spooky games, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that's not going to pan out that well
I
if
wouldn't
we're not
know
going
how
to
to
play
like.
them.
I wouldn't know how to research it, but playing it would be fun. We could do it when I'm in Texas.
No, I don't want to haunt my apartment while you're here
Oh, you mean like the elevator game, like shit like that?
or whatever. Those are the games that I was thinking, haunted games or spooky games. I was thinking like Bloody Mary, elevator game, like anything that was like that.
Urban Legends.
Both of us are bringing urban legends today. I have 3, she has 3. Would you like to go first or second, Haley?
I'll go first.
Okay, hit me.
Okay, so my first one is called The Seven Gates of Hell. Ooh.
Ooh.
Like that's not that bad, right?
Does sound bad.
I will forewarn, all of these are pretty short. Okay. The Seven Gates of The Seven Gates of Hell, it is a modern urban legend. There's 2 versions of the legend. One includes a burned down asylum, and the other one is a doctor. Not from the asylum, but just someone that.
It's the rando doctor.
Just a random doctor. In the asylum version, the building, it was built on in a secluded area, single road, one way in, one way out, kind of thing, on Toad Road or Trout Run Road. It is located in Hellam Township in Pennsylvania, and it is a very small town. Population is not even 6,000 people.
Wow.
But the asylum was built for what any other asylum would be built for, to isolate people that are believed to be insane. And in the 1900s, there was a supposed fire that was started, and due to how secluded the asylum was, firefighters were not able to reach the asylum in time, so it completely burned down. And the patients that didn't die, they were eventually captured and beaten to death, supposedly.
Oh.
And then the story goes is that the gates were built to trap the patients there so they couldn't get away. And then
Are there actual gates like in this location?
there's one. And then the only similarity between the two, the asylum and the doctor version, is the gates, obviously. But the doctor one, the only thing is it's just some doctor that lived on the property, and he had built the gates just to build them. So the one gate, the only gate that people see is apparently the only gate that is seen during the day, and at night that's when you see the others, supposedly. And no one has been able to pass through the fifth gate. And the legend says that once you pass through the seventh gate, you go straight to hell.
Spooky.
So that's the legend part. There is some truth to it. There is a property. There are some burnt ruins, but it's not of an asylum. The area that is said to have the seven gates of hell, it runs along Toad Road and by this place called Cordorus Creek, and it leads to the Cordorus Furnace. And apparently there used to be an old flint mill there, and it burnt down. So that's where some people say that's where they mistake the asylum ruins for. And there was a doctor that did live on that property at the time, and his name was Dr. Harold Belk.
Oh.
And he was a practitioner at Westside Sanitarium, and he lived along Toad Road. He was actually a very nice doctor, but he knew about the legend and he fed into it, so it's probably where version 2 came from.
Okay. Okay.
And that is the seven gates of hell.
Ooh. Spoopy. Would you like to do all of yours, or do you want to do Yumi, 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 Yumi,
Yumi,
Yumi?
yumi, yumi, yumi. You can go.
All right. So my first urban legend is called the Purple Church, and it's in Oklahoma, specifically in Spencer, Oklahoma. Off of Douglas Boulevard, there's a legend about an abandoned site called the Purple Church. It's rumored to have been a meeting place for a satanic cult and one of the most haunted places in the world, and even supposedly a gateway to the underworld. Ooh,
Ooh.
spooky. So, this was originally supposedly the site of a church that had been torn down, and all that is left is a concrete staircase down into a cellar or a basement. And so, basically, imagine you're in a forest and there's just like this big cement like staircase out in the middle of a bunch of trees down into a big cavern of whatever's down there, right?
Yeah, no.
No, no. So the reason it's called the Purple Church is because amongst the copious amounts of graffiti that's on there, there's a bunch of satanic symbols that are spray painted in purple, like pentagrams, etc. So supposedly the satanic rumors involved satanic rituals and blood sacrifices and animal sacrifices. So much so that people are like, they've seen animals like strung up in the trees. And that would not, I would understand if they saw animal remains on the ground, you could say that's an animal. But if it's strung up in a tree, that was probably a person.
Intentional.
Some say that there was never a church in that location and that this was a remains of a house, and below is just like the basement or cellar of a house instead of a church. And it was honestly pretty hard to find any like factual information about this location online. So most of my information come from personal experiences that I found on forums like Reddit, Facebook, and TikTok. So bear with me, some of this might not be right. But this is how the legend would be told if you were a young person growing up hearing this in the town of Spencer, Oklahoma. So it's always on Halloween night, and came from a poster on Reddit. It's always Halloween night, and there's always a group of teenage friends that go out into the woods and they sneak out of the house. And the teens were always like, oh, they're not usually a troublemaker. So it's unlike them to have snuck out of the house. But were feeling so daring on Halloween. So they snuck out. They always drive there in an old pickup truck, and it's always borrowed from a relative or something of the driver. The driver always has a best friend who's like the storyteller, who's riding shotgun, And they always leave with the sun like just setting. So it's a little bit light out, but then when they get there, it's always dark. Okay. Then they see three people when they are driving to the location. They see a man with a straw hat, and then further down the road is a meth head woman. And then just before you get to the driveway of where the purple church is, there's going to be a man that's like in overalls, and sometimes they try to like spook the teens. Supposedly they all glare at them and they try to scare them before they get to the purple church. Okay. There's a locked gate at the purple church, and there's always a friend in the back seat that's protesting, I don't think we should do this. I'm not sure we should be here. And so they always stay in the truck and wait for their friends to go to the purple church and come back. Okay. And so when they are left alone, they will see a quote, dead, gutted dog nailed up onto a tree. And people will try to say, oh, it's just a Halloween decoration. But they're like, that looks like a real, actual dog nailed up there. But anyway, the teens that were going into the purple church, they're going to continue and they're going to see animal bones and sacrifice things, like things that are like set up for a sacrifice. And then when they're working their way down the driveway, they're going to hear a yell, and that'll be like, it's going to sound like it came from like a drunken human telling them to get off their property. So they would all run back to the truck, make their getaway. The truck will do a backfire, and the person who yells at them will try to shoot a gun, but no one will ever get hurt. And then they'll tell the story and laugh about it years later. And that's generally the story that you're going to hear from anybody who's like an elder in this town about that place. But whenever they're asked about what happens when you go into the basement, what happens when you go down the staircase, they always change the subject. They get really shifty about it. They get very like weird about it, and they just, it's like they're all like in on this like weird thing about hiding what's down in the basement. Looked at a bunch of other stories on Reddit, and the original posters, for the most part, everybody has the same story that was told to them by someone who was older than them in the town, which is honestly creepy too, that everybody has the same exact type of story, like the same type of friends in the truck, like they're always borrowing a truck, they're always not, yeah, it's just crazy that's always the same. It's almost as if, to me, I feel like a bunch of the elders in this town got together and were like, let's make up a story about this and let's just tell it to all of our kids and scare them. But visitors are said to experience strange, quote, strange flowing lights in the woods, disembodied voices, and the smell of death when they get close to the staircase. Others claim that they see orbs, and they even see orbs that have faces in them. Some say they have heard growling coming from the cellar. Now, I could say that's probably an animal, but you might blame that on another entity, right? Those who venture into the area at night report seeing ghostly figures or experience like an overwhelming sense of dread. Other people experience being chased out of the area by men in robes, as if they had interrupted some sort of ritual. And then others report being chased off by a big black truck with no headlights on. People feel like there are very evil entities there. That's pretty much a unanimous feeling every time anyone goes there. So supposedly, if you walk down the stairs, this is the biggest part of the legend. If you walk down the stairs, an evil entity will latch onto you and change you forever. And someone claims that they even have seen their friend be dragged into the cellar by some dark entity, grabbing them and dragging them down, and they were never seen again, which I think that's crazy that someone truly was like, oh, bye. Like you wouldn't
Go
tell
down there.
anybody. I don't know. That seems it was a little far-fetched. But and they also claim that it is another gateway to hell, like or first one. So that's why I said it the first one.
Like mine.
The same. And yeah, and that's the Purple Church in Oklahoma.
I like that. Okay. My next one is called the Paulding Light, or Lights of Paulding, or Dog Meadow Light.
A light of many names.
A light of many names. Yeah, it's, you could probably even guess what the legend is. Anyway, so there's a light appears in a valley just outside, you guessed it, Paulding,
Oh,
Michigan. In Paulding, Michigan. And
wait, is the other one, was that? Oh no, that was in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. For some reason, I felt like this one was also Michigan. Wrong.
But apparently, since the 1960s, sightings have been reported of this strange light, and where the light specifically is always popping up. Since I did the population for the last one, I was curious. This it's in Hyatt Township, I think is what it's Hyatt. And the population is only 203 people.
That's like, how
I
is
don't
this like, how has it gotten so like big is what I'm saying? Because
I feel like it might be because of what I'm going to say at the end, but okay. To be exact, it is, quote, in the Upper Peninsula near Watersmeet off US 45 on Robbins Pond Road / Old US 45. The first reported sighting was in 1966 by some teens who reported it to police. And nearly every night since then, someone has reported seeing this light.
every night?
Nearly every night. But some theories or some legends behind the supposed light. What is it like? Where's it coming from? One of the big ones is it's the light of a railroad brakeman who died, and he died while attempting to stop a train from running into some stalled carts that were on the tracks.
Mm,
And the little light is like his little lantern. Another one is a mail courier who was killed, and another one is a Native American dancing on the power lines. Was
that's weird.
weird. Yeah. And then this one is sad. The last theory of what it is a grandparent looking for his lost grandchild using a lantern that needs to be constantly relit.
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's so sad.
sad.
But unfortunately, that legend was debunked in
Oh,
2000.
like it's not even real?
In 2010, some tech students in Michigan, they conducted a science experiment and of the light, and they were able to see like headlights. They basically debunked it, and they're just headlights from cars.
Like reflections of it somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh,
They were able to recreate the effect of the light by driving a car through that specific
area.
stretch of the
Yeah.
highway.
Science.
I was like, that's what I would think it is because it's a road. Wouldn't you think it's
Yeah.
just a headlight or something? But the whole time, like thinking about this one, it reminded me of when Dory in Finding Nemo and I see a light, and they just find the little light.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's the Paulding Light in Paulding, Michigan.
It's not even an urban legend then because it's debunked already. Do some people not believe it because like science, or do people now they're like, oh, it's just cars? Do
Mm,
you think they still believe it?
I feel like people would still use it as like a
To scare kids or something. Yeah,
yeah.
like yeah.
Let's go to Highway 45 and
See the ghost light.
see the ghost light. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that for sure. Even if it's proven that it's a car. But they'd have to be young. If there's really a car driving by, I feel like they'd know. I think it was just a car. I don't know. Kids are smart.
Don't you hear that car?
Yeah. All right. So my next one is the Candy Lady from Texas. So in the late 1800s in Terrell, Texas, Clara Crane married some older man. And I didn't really name him because who cares? Sorry, that's mean. I think his name was Leonard. And they had a child named Marcella. But in 1893, 5 years old, her daughter passed away in a farming accident. Clara was really angry at her husband, who was drunk while operating farming equipment. And basically, the accident was in result of that. He was operating farming equipment under the influence of alcohol. So Marcella died. Yeah, which to be honest, I don't think I could forgive my husband either. So makes sense. But 2 years after the accident, she decided to lace her husband's favorite candy, which are chewy caramels, with poison. And she gave them to him. After consumption, he passed away. And Clara was taken into custody and she was tried for first-degree murder. She was found guilty, but instead of going to prison for life, she was sent to the North Texas Lunatic Asylum, or now it's called the Terrell State Hospital. 1899, she was released because there were too many patients, which I feel like if you're convicted of murder, would you really release someone if they're in a asylum, wouldn't you move them to some other kind of facility?
I would say move them, or they'd be at the very bottom of the let out list.
Like maybe the people that were like brought in by their family because they're like a little crazy, like maybe
Gay.
they could go first. And then maybe not the murderers. That was a little
People
unlikely.
back in the day got put in asylums for being just gay.
Yeah, or a woman.
Or one, yeah.
Could have been anything. But yeah, but definitely murderers I feel like should be on the bottom of the list of people to be let out if there are too many patients, for sure. I guess maybe someone who is there on serving time, is not paying to be there maybe, and people who are like paying patients. I guess the state would pay though for that person to be there. I have no idea. I don't know how those things work. I just think it'd be unlikely that a murderer would just be let out after basically like less than 5 years, I feels like. Maybe 6 years. Anyway, so after her release, surprisingly, children started going missing near her old property. Those children were finding candy wrappers on their windowsills signed by the candy lady. And the sheriff also had gone missing and was found later dead on the side of the road with forks in his eyes and his pockets stuffed full of candy. Some people have claimed that they have found candy wrappers with children's rotten teeth inside. But once the children were missing, locals would find their bodies dead and stuffed with candy in their pockets, and their teeth were all pulled out. So between 1903 to 1913, 8 kids went missing, and that's where the legend ends. And so to me, the legend seems it's like a twisted tooth fairy tale or like Hansel and Gretel type story, but it is still pretty eerie. I don't know how true the Clara story is to the Candy Lady. Did they create the Clara story because they wanted to try to figure out who was doing this weird thing to with the candy? Did they think because women and murderers, right? They don't do things unless it's out of revenge or passion, right? So it makes sense that Claire would have killed her husband out of revenge. They're commonly not like random serial killers of like just children, right? So to me, that seemed strange that they were blaming this woman that came out of the asylum on basically murdering kids with candy. Anyway, that's the story of the candy lady.
That one's scary.
It's pretty scary. But again, I just don't know how realistic the real part of that story is. If Clara has anything to do with it, or if she was just like some innocent bystander that killed her husband once with candy and is now considered the candy lady.
Yeah.
To me, I feel a little bit bad for Clara if she's not the candy lady.
Yeah.
That at this point she's not alive either, but her name was sullied all over town for the fact that 8 kids went missing back in the 1800s, early 1900s. So, anywho,
yeah. Poor lady.
I'm only sad for her if she's not the candy lady. Be clear.
If she is the murderer, then well,
To heck with her.
Okay. I'm on my last one.
Me too.
This one is called the Char-Man. And every time I wanted to say Charmander so bad, but it's not the Charmander. Similar vibe with the flames, but no.
That's about it though.
Okay. So the Char-Man legend is based out of a little area called Oja. Hopefully I said that. It's Ojai. And it's a little town inside of, or just outside of Ventura, California.
Ventura Boulevard.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Sorry. That's all I think of when I saw Ventura.
Yeah.
Any Hoosier. So the legend of this story basically is people drive across this bridge, and it's the Ojai. So the Ojai Bridge, cars would go and stop
on the bridge.
And yeah, they would stop on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
That heard of this legend, they would stop on the bridge and they would get out and they would just yell, "Help me," over and over until it's like a mix of the Candyman and Bloody Mary type thing. I don't know if it's 3 times or what, but basically they would just say, "Help me," over and over until from this wooded area that's nearby that you would just see this flaming man come running at you.
Oh.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
To think about. Like, why would you want to do that? And then that was for people that actually knew the legend and wanted to try it out, like the stupid Bloody Mary Candyman thing.
Wait, so when they run at you, does he like touch you or
I'm assuming you just die. Legend says that the Char-Man, you'll know if he's nearby by his smell.
smells like burning flesh?
Yes. But basically, it is this figure being, like, no one actually knows what it is. That is, they're just engulfed in flames, or they are just charred, like their skin's all burned, and they're wearing barely anything but maybe some bandages. And that's like the legend part of the Char-Man. Some theories of how the Char-Man became the Char-Man. Two of the stories came from a bushfire that happened in 1948, and the first one is, it was a father and son who got caught in the fire. They both were badly burned, obviously, but the father died, and the son survived, but since he saw his father die, legend says that he went insane at the time. And when, like, authorities or whoever came to, probably firefighters, came out to put out the fire, they found the son wearing his father's skin, like wearing his
Ew.
like wearing his face, and that he had hung his father from a nearby tree.
Yuck.
And basically the son ran off into the woods and became the Char-Man. Like, that's story one. The other one is, it's a husband and wife that were caught in the fire, and they became separated. He got badly injured, and the wife, all he can hear is his wife yelling and saying, "Help me," which again is that's where the "help me" comes from. But he was unable to save her, and the wife died, and then the husband, like the son in the first story, basically just went off into the woods and became Char-Man. But according to the Historical Society, there is no recorded deaths from the bushfire of 1948. Doesn't mean that there wasn't, but
Right.
yeah, as far as we know. There's also like another version where it's a firefighter that was fighting the blaze and died, and he became the Char-Man, which sounds about right.
So the origin of the Char-Man is unknown
Pretty
because it
much.
could be any of these stories.
Could be
right?
any of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically all the same. There's two more theories of who it could be. Like, another theory, it was a man who was driving his car, ended up crashing on the bridge
Oh.
and it engulfed in flames, but he went into the woods and became Charman, that's a logical thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And after something bad happens, let's just go to the woods and become Char-Man. After a terrible thing, go to the woods, become Char-Man.
and that was in the early 50s, and then the last supposed one, which is sad. This one's from the 60s. Char-Man is supposedly, it's an elderly man who had a very bad case of skin cancer, to where he was so disfigured and deformed that he didn't like to be seen in public, and he would only go out to walk his dog at night, and sometimes he would be seen by kids, and the kids would be scared of him, and they made up the Char-Man hoax.
So he wasn't a scary guy at all. He was just a guy that had a bad skin cancer.
That is a possible other theory, yes.
That's sad.
I know. Wow, he's ugly, so
Yeah, he must be the fucking Char-Man. I fucking hope that's not it. To be honest, I hope that's not it.
I know. Yeah, that's all like all the theories on where it could have started, but there is a movie called The Char-Man.
Oh,
I
does it
could not
sound good? Bad ratings, bet.
bad rating.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It came out in 2019. IMDb rated it low,
But Tomato Boys rated it
but
high.
Tomato Boys rated it high.
Okay.
Do you want to guess it or
The rating for Tomato Boys?
for both?
Okay, for IMDb, I think they rated it a 4.9 out of 10. And for the Tomato Boys, I think they rated it a 62%.
IMDb rated it a 3.9.
Oof, I was 1 whole point off. Okay.
That's why I was like, oh my God, you got the 0.9. And then Tomato Boys gave it a 75%.
Okay. How did it get such weird ratings? Usually the ratings are like around the same, like within a few points. That's crazy.
I know. I was like, what the fuck?
I don't know if I want to watch it. Not sure I trust the Tomato Boys on this one.
And then I have a little fun fact about it.
Oh, about the movie
No,
or about the
about
legend?
the legend.
Oh, okay.
But Char-Man's it's such a big local legend in this town that there's a hot sauce named after him,
Oh,
and it's called Char-Man's Revenge. It's a habanero pepper sauce, and it's made by Highway 33 Foods. And the tagline for the hot sauce is, quote, "Just beware, with 5 fire roasted habanero peppers in every bottle, Char-Man's Revenge may become a reality." Your poor asshole.
yikes. That's crazy.
And then I looked it up real quick for the town, but they have 7,500 people.
Oh, okay.
So
More than the
biggest
most amount of people in a town that you've talked about today.
exactly.
The biggest town.
Yeah, that is the Char-Man.
Cool. Wow. All right. So my last one is called The Grunch, which you got a sneak peek at because I accidentally sent you the link to it instead of the Zoom link.
I know, I tried to be like, nope.
Okay. So the Grunch is a cryptid from the folklore of New Orleans in Louisiana. It is described as a half human, half monster creature that lurks in swamps and forests. According to the legend, the Grunch was once part of an inbred clan of deformed humans who were cast out of society. People who describe them claim that they were a mix between a dog canine and a reptilian chupacabra. So, like, a very weird mix to me. That was very strange. But their origin is sometimes the origin can be traced back all the way to the really early roots of New Orleans. The Grunch legend is connected to the New Orleans history as a major part of the antebellum era and the slave trade. The name Grunch is said to have come from the road in New Orleans called Grunch Road. It's also known as the Vampire of Fairborough, Marigny. The legend is linked to Marie Laveau, the famous voodoo queen. According to the legend, Marie Laveau was attacked by a grunch, which nearly killed her, and this event supposedly led her to abandon her voodoo practice and return to Catholicism, which is strange. They have dark gray, leathery skin and spikes down their back. They have glowing red or teal eyes. Some say they have wings and a tail. Their height is about 3 or 4 feet tall. Supposedly, they have a human like intelligence because they can open doors and use tools. They also make a really loud shrieking sound, and supposedly they smell like really fucking bad, like foul. And when feeding, it's said that they can drain the insides of their prey from a singular bite. Sightings of the Grunch often occur near Grunch Road, but some say that they have seen grunches. I said grunches as plural of grunch, but I'm not sure that's correct. But they have seen them all over Louisiana. In fact, after Hurricane Katrina, people said that they started keeping their pets inside because there were so many grunches that were displaced after the hurricane into more populated areas, which that's to me, that's insane. That makes me feel like they're really real, like a grunch is real. That being said, I couldn't see any real pictures of them. I only saw drawings of them.
Scary.
That's pretty spooky. And they've been around forever. I feel like with the modern age, there should be a picture of a grunch somewhere. Anyway, that's all I got.
When you said the Grunch, I kept thinking the Grinch.
The Grinch. I know. I kept thinking that too the whole time I was researching. He doesn't look like the Grinch.
Yeah, I bet not.
He is green though. They said dark gray, but the picture that I saw was green. Weird.
Gross.
Anyway, I guess that's everything.
That's it.
Thank you,
Uh,
Hayley, for bringing your urban legends.
I was gonna say thank you, Kathryn, for bringing your urban legends.
Oh, shucks.
Literally all of them.
Oh yeah, just as a little boogie note, I, I had this idea and she was like, "I'm not even sure what I'm going to do next week." And I said, "You want an idea?" And she said, "Sure." And so I gave her 3 urban legends and I said, "I have 3 urban legends and just let me know if anything changes." And we did it together because teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathryn, for supplying me with ideas and being my partner as always.
I'm a wealth of ideas.
You are. You are. I don't know what I'd do without you. Okay. Spooky Waves, I hope you enjoyed another Urban Legends here for you. This was not too spooky. It's a little more tame and fun.
Yeah, I feel like some of it was spooky though.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
Purple Church, the 7 Gates of Hell.
The
They're all pretty
Char-Man.
spooky. The Char-Man. Only if it's if it's only the not sad story, it's spooky.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed. And it's Kathryn's week next week. I don't
Dang.
know. I don't know what it is. As always, I'm excited.
Yeah, you better be.
She always has the
Strap
best
in.
ideas.
I do have ideas. I don't know if they're the best ideas. They're just ideas.
They're the best.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Kathryn's going to bring to the table. Not tomorrow, next week.
Tomorrow.
Get to work.
Chop. We'll record it right after this, just right now.
Oh my god. And come back next week and hang out with us. Hang out with us.
Please.
Whenever. We'll be here.
Always.
And we love you.
Aww.
He's
like, stop. She said it. Becoming more emotionally available to you guys.
I think what it is when we do this, I think it's just me and you having a conversation most of the time.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
definitely hard to visualize or see or think that someone else is listening to this. But I know that there are people listening to this, like, consistently.
That's good.
I think we are someone's favorite podcast.
I love that for them.
You might need therapy, but we are here to support you, baby.
I full support. We stand our fans.
100%.
And take it away, Kathryn. Wrap it up, baby. With a little bow.
Put a little bow on it. Thank you for coming and joining us today. If you are listening to us on an audio platform where you can rate us 5 stars, please do. Or give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you listen to us there. And send us a comment or something on Instagram so we can chat with you. We love to talk to you guys there. And just remember, you are only responsible for your feelings and you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else's timelines for yourself. Your timeline is the perfect timeline, and that's how it is. And we appreciate you very much. And the world is a better place with you in it. And we will see you
in your nightmares.